Hey everyone, it's Natalia.
Hey, what's up? This is Arun.
We're here again to recap leg 6 of Amazing Race 33, red team here. And yeah, so we're flying from Switzerland to now Corsica, France, again on Big Phil. And I didn't know much about Corsica.
But the thing is, we didn't know where we were going. We were going to an unknown destination, and we were all wondering where we are going. Then we land on an island, and we're trying to scramble to see can we see any flags as soon as we landed. But we didn't know we were in France till we went to the immigration and seen the French flags there. That's when we knew we were in France.
Yeah, and obviously from the plane we can tell it's an island because it's surrounded by water, but we're like, where are we? And then we find out we're in Corsica. And so last leg we were saved by the non-elimination. And so now we're leaving this new group structure again. And our penalty for the non-elimination was that we were leaving on our own 15 minutes after the second group and 30 minutes after the first group. And so we've been getting a lot of kind of comments, people messaging us saying that it wasn't fair, we didn't have a speed bump. And in fact, there wasn't any speed bump. Our penalty and the penalty for a non-elimination moving forward in our season is that you are in fact starting in the last time group. And to address kind of the comment, is this fair or not? If you look back to recent seasons of The Amazing Race, often there's that equalizer at the airport. So even if a team is saved in a non-elimination, they finished far behind other teams, when they're starting the next leg, there's that equalizer of them catching up with all the teams at the airport. And so what the speed bump, that extra challenge they have to do, it serves as that disadvantage of 10 to 15 minutes an extra task they have to do. Since we didn't have that equalizer because of the staggered departure times, we already had that 15 to 30 minute disadvantage. So that served as that, instead of doing an extra task, which would have maybe been harder for production to do, it equaled just us starting 15 minutes after the second group and then 30 minutes after that first group. It kind of is the same equivalent to having that extra speed bump task.
Most of the time in the past the speed bumps normally take 5 to 10 minutes. There have been one speed bump where they have to eat an ice cream, and there's one speed bump where they have to throw some coins into the thing.
They're sit on ice.
But
super fast. But there have been hard ones too.
Yeah, the 30-minute thing to wait to be the last team is very stressful.
Yeah, because, it's different if it's a self-driving leg, but when you are being shuttled from one point to another, there's less room for error because it all comes down to the challenges. So for us to have to make up even 15 minutes, we had to make sure we weren't making any errors in these challenges, and we had to pick up the pace at places, or we had to rely on, as you saw, other teams just really making big mistakes in these challenges.
So once we got into the what do you say, the limo or the
shuttle? I don't know, it's not really a limo. But yeah, we started at Point Altiani, and that's where you see the broken bridge, and we're being released in the group, so we're just watching teams, they're already on the race course, and we're waiting for our turn to just start, the race.
But I think the producers were very smart, because the drive up to the mountains was not an easy drive. I mean, the scenery was beautiful, but I don't think they wanted us to self-drive, knowing how dangerous it could be.
We would have driven off the mountain. But even the drivers, I think, were the native drivers were having a hard time driving up those mountains, because the roads get very narrow. There are a lot of one-way roads. So for safety reasons, that's why they had us taking those shuttles. It was basically because of the safety. For us, self-driving up there wouldn't have been a possibility.
But the scenery and the rock formations are beautiful.
Yeah, I definitely would want to go back to Corsica. That's the one place, it was just gorgeous. We were just it was nice to have that relaxing time in the shuttle to actually absorb the scenery, because you don't have that a lot of other legs. But yeah, so, we end up leaving last on our own, and we know we have time to make up. We get to the Valdever de Corte, and
as soon as we landed there, we were extremely happy to see Sherry and Akbar just coming down from the hill. And so that made us excited. Okay, it looks like we might have made up some time. So we felt good at that time.
Yeah, and we had said to each other that as long as we see one team at each of the places, we know we're still in this. The worst part is not seeing any teams. So as long as we saw teams, we felt good. And we got up there pretty quickly. And we found out later there was actually two ways. There was like a shortcut way and then a longer way. And we ended up taking the shortcut way to get up there. So that helped us. And then when we saw Sherry and Akbar come down, they were getting back into their shuttle. So we knew, okay, we don't need to take our bags. We put our bags in our shuttle and that helped us. We did see a lot of teams did go up with their backpacks.
And then the canister was full of milk, so literally it could have been a struggle, but I decided I would just carry it on my shoulder and run down, so that also helped.
Yeah, so I think we made up some time there, and then from there we are heading to we chose Say Cheese. Because, we said anything with food, and also one thing we said, we don't want to deal with animals, because we've seen past seasons of Amazing Race.
So animals could be difficult, meaning, so we just wanted to control our own destiny, and cheese making, I cook all the time, and Natalia also cooks, and I work in the restaurant industry. Not that I make cheese for a living, but we thought we might be able to do a better job with cheese making.
Yeah, and so we get to Say Cheese, and
what is it? Fromagerie de... okay, I can't pronounce. I don't want to kill the French one. So once we get to the cheese, we were so excited to see. How many teams did we see? We've seen Ryan and Dusty, we've seen Lulu and Lala, and we've seen Akbar and Sherry. So we felt very good. We said,
we're still in this,
We're still in it.
We said we need to see one team. There are many teams here, so we made up some time, and we were excited. And one of our mistakes, we made in Scotland was just not watching the demonstration, and that's something that we've been learning. Is you just need to take time, pay attention to those details, and that's what we did. I was there trying to heat up our cheese.
The way we decided is that Nat would stay with the pot and the milk and thing, and I would watch the demonstration time and again and go through exactly how we were supposed to. So we had a plan in place, making sure that Nat was maintaining the temperature. I was going back and forth watching what exactly was transpiring, and I think that helped.
Yeah. And this one was definitely the longer one watching it back. Like the mule was a lot quicker, seemed more straightforward. But this, you had to obviously wait for it to get to that 60 degrees. And that took time. And then again to 85. And when you come in, one thing to note is the demonstration could be at any place. So you have to kind of wait till they restart to know what those steps are.
And also ask questions, and that's what we did. And we got it at the first time, so we were able to get it done pretty quick.
Yeah,
I'm saying maybe 30 minutes.
I don't even think I don't even think it was that much. I don't know, but so yeah, you see Dusty and Ryan were struggling, and I think what they were doing wrong was just they kept messing up with the temperature and lowering it, and I think that caused their milk not to curdle. I think that was the big issue that they were having.
Because cheese making, curdling it's all about science, correct? So if you don't do it at the right temperature, it's not going to happen. Either it's going to over curdle or it's not going to curdle.
Yeah, and so, we leave there. We know are in 5th place. So we know we still, have to make up some room because you never know what's going to happen. It was funny because when we were leaving, I saw Dusty and Ryan run the other way, and we didn't know for sure if they're switching, what they were doing. We eventually get down to the roadblock, and it's who wants to make a splash. And we had said we were going to alternate who's doing the roadblocks. And I had done the bungee jump, so it was kind of your turn. And it seemed like something that was more adventurous. And you said you want to do all those because apparently I have a lot of life left to live compared to you.
You have more opportunities in life. And so I wanted to make the best use of it and say, okay, let me get it done.
I was jealous, though, because watching that back, it looked like a lot of fun. And I might just go back to Corsica just to do that because it looked amazing.
Yeah. That's because you had to slip and slide, you had to swim, you had to jump, you had to do so many things. But the one thing, it was 1.5 miles, the whole thing to be done. It doesn't, the way when you look at the episode, you had a steep climb up to the first point where you jump off. So it was not a easy physical task.
Yeah. And then when you started, you didn't know where Dusty and Ryan is. And obviously
Yes.
I'm there, so I see them come. So while you're doing this, you think like Dusty and Ryan are still who knows where.
No, my goal was I only knew Akbar was in front of me. All I had to do was to take over Akbar and Sherry. Then we'll be one team. I mean, I had one team. So that was my goal. So in the beginnings, till we got to the first jump, more or less we were together. But once we got to the first jump, I literally ran past Akbar and was able to finish earlier than Akbar.
Yeah.
The good thing, the clue was inside I mean, at the entrance of a cave. So you have to go inside the cave, and when you're coming out, the clue. It is possible that you could miss the clue if you're not looking, but it was more or less pretty obvious at the entrance of the cave.
Yeah, like watching it as someone who wasn't like there, it looked pretty obvious. Like it looked really like you couldn't miss it if you had to go through that cave and it's literally hanging.
But if you're doing a 1.5 mile stretch, it's you could miss it, correct?
Yeah. And so you come back, and I'm like excited.
You didn't know who. I mean, you heard a team come because after I seen the footage, you heard somebody coming, and you probably thought it's Akbar, or I don't know what you were thinking.
Well, when I was there, I was like, what I was worried about, because I didn't know how far, like how hidden the clue would be. So I was just worried that you were gonna miss the clue maybe, and then have to do it again. So I was ecstatic to see you had the clue. So that was awesome.
Oh, if you missed the clue and came out, you probably are an hour behind, I think.
Yeah, so it's like you better find it like on that first try. And so then we see, like we gotta go kayak to the pit stop. And we've like gone on like kayaking on lakes in Michigan, but like it's been very casual. Like,
I've probably done
kayaking
once or twice in my life.
Yeah.
You might have done more, but I probably have done it once or twice.
Yeah, and so we're running down from our shuttle. We read our clue. It said to leave our packs, our fanny pack in the shuttle, so we did. And we're surprised to see Lulu and Lala still there, and we're like, oh wow, like, is this harder than it looks, or what's going on? And so we didn't actually know what was going on with them at that time, and then we were just really focused on blowing up our kayak, and then Dusty and Ryan run down with us. So
and you could hear Dusty say, "I'm gonna eat you guys" or something.
No, like we're about to eat.
No, but Natalia and me had a conversation. Natalia said, "Oh, we can beat them," or something you said. I'm not too sure what exactly.
Yeah,
I
was
told
being
Natalia.
Positive. There's no way we would have beat them.
I told Natalia,
kayaking.
let's be humble. So it is not gonna happen because I know where my limits are. So we knew that they're gonna overtake us.
Yeah, so they did overtake us with the kayaks, but then
blowing up the kayaks was, if you have not done it before, so it does take time. So it's not that easy because you've already done a physical challenge. You have to pump it up and carry it up that thing to go kayaking.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't terribly hard to pump it up. There's not too much skill.
That's what I'm just saying. You've not done it. I'm just saying.
So yeah, then we're kayaking, and I'm yelling at you, like, do you want to be in the back? Because we all know the back person steers, and you are telling me, no, the front person steers. So that was our little argument we had. But I think we were good. I'm glad they didn't show me shouting left, right the whole time, because I was like literally screaming at the top of my lungs. Yeah, so we found out we're fourth place, and we're excited because, starting last to still be in the race, it was a good feeling.
It's a relief to know that there's still one more team behind you. I mean, two teams behind you, and finishing in the fourth place, because we've been in the bottom after the Scotland disaster. So it felt good to come in fourth, knowing that we had left last.
Yeah, and being in the back of the pack does something to you mentally. I feel like you're in a different mental space when you're in the back of the pack versus the front of the pack. I feel like when you're in the back of the pack, it's like you tend to make more mistakes because you're so frantic, or you feel like you can't you don't have like any room for error.
But the thing is, we've been actually doing good in challenges so far. I mean, it's the navigation which has really put us in the place where we are, and we feel good about the challenges.
Yeah, and then, obviously Sherry and Akbar were eliminated, and we were so sad to see them go.
Ming, they're such amazing people. They've done so much for the community. It's so awesome that we got to know them and be friends with them. And also, Akbar has got a lot of rap in the social media and saying that he's not a nice person. They are fine. Sherry and Akbar are loving couple. They're fine, but the race makes you do crazy stuff. So I just want to say, Akbar is such an amazing person, and Sherry is wonderful. She conquered two of her fears: the bungee jumping and what was the other one? I forgot.
Oh, the mountain.
Mountain.
Yeah.
Yeah, the mountain thing in Switzerland.
Yeah.
So
And I don't think even if I were to go with my husband on the Amazing Race, like we would be fighting all the time. And so it's just like everyone has different relationships. You're not always a loving doving couple. Because
So-
that would not be me and my husband. And I don't think my mom and you would also be very fun to watch.
So that's basically our recap of leg 6 and looking forward to leg 7.
Yeah. Let us know again. Any questions, comments?
Questions, please send us. Bye.